The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
Yo, what's going on? Your boy, Coach Pat here. Way too early with Pat, although not nearly as early as we usually are. We gave you guys a little chance to sleep in today. So, I got my baseball garb on. February 1st to be exact. We have Super Bowl week coming up, and then we have a little bit of a lull in the action as everybody is kind of beneath snow right now. And on the other side of that is spring football season. So spring football season comes with March. And last year we had an absolute awesome spring football season with the Big East. Pardon, I'm saying good morning to everybody and sharing the vibes. Let me just say good morning to everybody. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. There it is. So before I get started, we're going to have a few things to talk about. Because everything that was going on went live during the week for, I think it was like 2 or 3 hours. Definitely not doing that today. Got stuff to do. But we'll say good morning to everybody. EFA, what's up? New York City, what's up? Independent guys, what's up? Bleezy's, what's up? Upstate, what up? Players Lounge, what's going on? IFC, ooh, yeah, I'm messing up groups. IFC, what's up? And then we got a couple other ones in here. National Advancement, Professional Advancement. That was the new word. Too late with Pat. You know what's too late? Black's Barbecue. Black's Barbecue, we're expecting a bounce back season. You guys had a terrible 2025 season. We're looking for Black's Barbecue to have a comeback in the 2026 season because it was very underwhelming in the 2025 season. We had, actually, let me not say that. We had the quality, but we did not have the quantity because I even saw like crab legs come out. The salmon was slamming. Bars. The menu expanded, but we just didn't get the flow like we usually get it week in and week out. You know, that's the way that your weekend's about to officially come to an end when you got some Black's Barbecue on a Saturday night, and then you wake up Sunday morning, kind of get yourself together, and then get ready to get the work week started and such. So, yeah, man. Dogs Only, what's up? I don't know what's taking me so long. NEAFL starting up soon. So we got those guys going. Definitely tapping in with those guys. And we'll talk to Saplinski in the near future about what's going on with those guys. Nationals team, what's going on? Semipro headquarters, what's up? PA, checking in. Let's talk about it. EFA, Semipro Talk, got it. Semipro Network, got it. Cool. I think we got pretty much everybody. So today we're talking a few things. Oh, MLF Elite. Sorry. Crow, what up? Crow was an absolute gem the other day, just so you know. If you didn't see the live the other day, definitely tap in and check out that live. It was absolutely hilarious. And if there's any other impressions that you want to see Coach Pat do, please let me know. Duncan said that he absolutely loved my impression. He goes, "Hey, man, that's not the way I sound, man. Come on now." I said, "Yeah, dude, that's the way you sound." And then Coach Crow, there it is. Boom. Okay, cool. So we are rolling. So let's talk about it, shall we? First thing I want to talk about is DBs, defensive backs. There was a couple of guys in the comments when I brought this up last time that had chimed in with a couple names. I'll have them chime in again because I didn't write them down. But there was 3 that I wanted to kind of highlight, or just like kind of players in general that just when it comes down to it, just like play football. One was for the Nassau Punishers that you always had a game plan for, and if I have it wrong, please let me know. But one of the yeah, he definitely has the Bone Thug sound. One of the names that just keeps on popping up. I'm sorry. One of the names that doesn't pop up nearly as much in history as it did when he was playing is Travis Jenks. What up? Good afternoon, Bailey. Travis Jenks. Punishers, Long Island Ravens. Don't know why, but again, chime in if you know, and if you know, you know. That dude was all the way real, and hardly ever gets mentioned anymore. Just saying. Maybe it's the Long Island contingency, as Long Island's been. Maybe just have to have a show of Long Island legends. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold off on that, and I'm gonna go over maybe region by region legends of that particular region, and then yeah, we go legends by region, and then have an expert in that particular region come on the show and discuss who they think that some of their top players that they've seen to come out of that region is. But in terms of Long Island legends, Travis Jenks has got to be one of them. Just saying. Tap in. Spin. I get spin to tap in. James was a dog. He played with Brian Dawkins. He definitely did. He's one of the best I've ever seen. And, of course, you got Bish. Bish from the Seminoles. He was all the way real when it came to coverage. The best DBs to do it. Another guy who he gets mentioned often, but some of the younger guys kind of know the name but really don't know the work. If you get a chance, I think you get Skip on that. Skip, you got to bring up some of that old film from Bish, because that dude was a problem. He got game planned for every single time. Every time he was on the schedule, he's the type of dude that you have to game plan for. And he's absolutely dope, 100%. One of the great people in the sport as well. And then the third name that I want to mention, and again, please, and this is where we get off kilter when it's like, you didn't mention this guy, you didn't mention that guy. I'm just giving you 3. I'm not going to give you the top 3. I'm not going to say the best 3 of all time. Let me say it, because last time people went off the rocker when I said something and took it as law when it was just opinion. That 3 of the best that I've seen. Oh, copy. Jinx is someplace college. I'm guessing the don't was supposed to be son. What's up, Earl? So 3 of the best that I've seen do it. Bish, Jinx, and Slush. Slush from the Bandits. He played for a couple other teams as well. Hall of Fame type of dude. Actually, Bish is in the Hall of Fame. Slush is in the Hall of Fame, I believe. And Jinx is not, I don't think. It's one of those guys. You got to, come back around on that one. But yeah, those are three of the top ones that I remember in my time in semi-pro football. But again, Midwest guys, drop a couple names. Southern guys, New England guys, drop some names. Who are your best DBs, like your cover guys? Now, here's the thing that makes it kind of interesting is that when it comes to the DBs, the skill set kind of has to be different than what you would see, of course, like in the NFL or even in college. Because, let's be honest, referees are not calling pass interference. I've gone through some seasons not having a pass interference called on the defense. Jinx's son is playing college ball. That's awesome. That's so dope. Yeah. So, in fact, I could do a whole entire show. In fact, Earl, I'm going to commandeer Earl for a show next couple weeks. We got to get to it. The semi-pro children of note, because obviously we have one in Corey Duff playing for Rutgers. We have a bunch of players that have had children play college ball. Still have fat Fridays. That's awesome. Play college ball and do some things. So let us know, dudes that played semi-pro and now they have kids that are doing their thing on, and not just the gridiron, but maybe something of note. Brad McCoy was the absolute truth, 100%. He wasn't a DB, but absolutely. Slush and G, absolutely. Makes sense, indeed. Q Slush, gotcha. Yeah, who has kids that are doing things? Slush is another Hall of Famer? Absolutely. Cool. All right, so next, but again, please put down any other DBs of note. Those are my three. You have some other DBs. Jinx, Slush, and Fish were my top three. Barring that people bring up another name that I totally forgot about, which is definitely possible. But moving on. PFA had their meeting. It was more of an introductory meeting. It was not there was not like the business plan modeled out. It wasn't instructional. It wasn't anything other than kind of a meet and greet, which makes sense based on the fact that it was an open invitation. When you go over your particular business plan or you go into specifics of what you're going to do as a league, you don't do that when you have open invitation to the general public. That just wouldn't make much sense. So what are my thoughts on the PFA? I think that based on the PFA, what I do like about the PFA, let me start there, is that Duncan and his staff have the ability to maneuver and adjust according to different factors. So I've seen them operate and adjust to a variety of factors in the Midwest. So for example, and I was arguing with Ron about this during the course of the 2-hour marathon live the other day, which is the Midwest ran into some issues with scheduling. They couldn't give teams a tough enough schedule. So the way that they kind of separated AA and AAA was very novel for the time. So they successfully convinced teams to maneuver into AAA and AA without disrespecting anybody. The second part of it is they really worked in crossovers. That really is going to be the secret to really making this level of football more entertaining than it is now, which is getting matchups that you wouldn't see before. So the fact that, and again, the most impressive thing, what up? Right on time. The most impressive thing that Duncan did this past year was give his teams these unique schedules where they weren't playing the same team 2 and 3 times. That is absolutely what is going to make this thing more entertaining, and going back to the glory days of what people were saying in terms of MLF and 5-star, where you weren't playing teams home and home. There were enough teams in the landscape to be able to, meet new players and go and do new things. You know what I'm saying? So as a result, it worked for some. It didn't work for others. One of the teams it didn't work for was the Racine Raiders, and we got to talk about it because I put a lot of pressure on the Racine Raiders last year as them claiming they were national champions because they won the GDFL. Well, they signed up for the PFA and wanted all the smoke, and then now they backed out and are not in the PFA anymore. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yo, Pat, what you talking bad about the PFA? I'm not talking bad about the PFA. Because if you're a PFA team, could you get Racine on your schedule? Absolutely. And just because, in my opinion, of Racine is totally separate than the fact of the matter when it comes to the logistics of scheduling, which is Duncan has maintained the relationships with these leagues to be able to do business across the boards and create these schedules that make his teams be able to claim to be the best in the nation. And that's what you need. That's what's kind of been lacking in the, say, AAA teams and regions down here for a couple years now is that when you look at the resume of the teams, if you actually look at it, like scrutinize it, it just wasn't what it needed to be, and that's what you're paying. That's what you're paying league fee for. You're paying league fee for a schedule and a dynamic schedule. So oftentimes the players get caught up on the bells and the whistles. And yes, we want recorded games. Yes, we want cool uniforms and the rest of it. Yes, the trophies are nice. Championship venues are nice, absolutely. But the bottom line is all that doesn't mean anything if you have a schedule that is wrecked. It doesn't. And I'll get to what that looks like in a second. And then the heart of what my conversation with Ron Winfield on Thursday was. And I'm definitely not, was it Thursday, Friday, whatever it was. And I'm not going to rehash that because it was a very long conversation. But the bottom line is, what can teams expect to pay to operate a team in the PFA? And one thing that Ron said that was just bananas to me is not knowing how much something costs when you sign up for it. He actually said that he had no idea whether it would cost more money or less money to operate his team in the Den than the PFA, which to me was absolutely insane. We got sidetracked from there, what have you, so I just wanted to go back to that point, which is the first thing you should do as a semi-pro owner. First thing is figure out if you join a particular league and worst case scenario happens, or in some cases you would say best case scenario, if you're the team that likes to travel to all the further regions within the league structure, what would be your estimated cost? It's called making a budget. And the fact that somebody can, in general, somebody can join a league, call themselves professional advancement, because that's what the PFA is. He said very clearly in the meeting, is professional advancement football. So if you're a professional advancement football and you have not collected a single dime of capital and you don't have a single dime to go toward operating expenses, let me just tell you this, that is not for you. And you're going to waste people's time. And the way that people have been operating like that is just not, it wasn't acceptable before, but will get us embarrassed on a national scale. It will. Case in point, there were teams in many leagues that started, and again, I'm going back to the original question of, how much do you think it will cost a team to operate a team in the PFA? The Pharaohs came up with their number of what they spent in terms of the most they've ever spent. I think it was the most they ever spent. I think that's what was said, which was like $18,000 something, about $18,000. And we broke down $18,000 with 65 roster spots. That was like $275 or so. The Pharaohs were charging $250, so you're essentially, I didn't say taking a loss, but you are in the red. You're operating in the red, and I use the word very clearly, operating in the red, because that money has to be covered up somehow. $25 per player. $25 per player, that ends up being around about $3,000. And that's if you collect $250 from every single player. And again, the Pharaohs collect better than most organizations do. Not everybody does it. So we're talking about the exemplary example, not your average example. So if your best case scenario has you starting in a $3,000, $2,000 hole, right? Then understand that if you are in the PFA, if we're talking about Midwest, if we're talking about the semifinals, if you're talking about the champion versus champion and crossover games, where your expenses should be more. Because if you look at these teams' schedule, don't tell me that these teams have been playing 10 unique opponents. Most of the teams, even AAA down here, have not been playing 10 regular season games. Most of them haven't even scheduled 10 regular season games. Because it used to be you scheduled 10 regular season games, and then you had a couple forfeits in there, and you only end up playing 7 or 8. So then we were just like, you know what? Why do all that? Because teams aren't getting to the 9th and the 10th game. So let's clip it at the 8th game and just try to get 8 games played on the field. That was the reasoning behind it. So as a result, the 8 games that you played are not even against 8 separate opponents, different opponents, and your road games aren't nearly what you think your road games are going to be in as a PFA team if you are doing it right. So, what do you think is going to be the operating cost? So now, $20,000 was mentioned in the meeting, right? And then everybody is, oh, he didn't literally mean $20,000. Now, if you are operating a team in a way that makes sense, you're going to touch 20K. Not a 20K loss, because in the meeting he said $20,000 loss. Now, if you're taking a $20,000 loss in business, it's usually because you are operating a budget that's in excess of $100,000, and you made back 80 or whatever, and you lost 20. Isn't a requirement? Yes. So that being good at math is not a requirement, sadly enough. So if I just zeroed you out and said, "Yo, just get to 20," and the $250 league fee and $200 league fee that these players know, and some can't even get to, is what's going to get you to $20,000. Tell me what's going to get you to the finish line to get to 20K. Because I'm saying that if you're not spending 20K on your product, why am I putting a 20K product on the field? Racine has a 20K product. Jersey Sharks have a 20K product. Knowles have a 20K product. They have the ability to move to the tune of 20K. Who else is going to touch that? Obviously, the Pharaohs have the ability to get to 20K. Because if they weren't crushed by 18K, I don't think another 2K is going to really, do much damage to them. So who else is equipped to do that? Not many. Not many. So now we're in a situation where when we have local football, you have teams that are in these 20K ranges playing teams that are just trying to operate on $6,000, $7,000 budgets. And that's when you end up having debacles happen. That's when you end up having, well, I don't want to travel, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and then we go around the rules, and then you end up having optional football. And when it starts, and again, you could tell me that I'm wrong, but what a lot of people don't realize, what a lot of people just they actually realize, they forget, is that you had teams and leagues that didn't have their league fee paid and they were playing games. What up, Shaq? You had teams that didn't have their league fee in 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in the season. You had teams, I shouted it out a couple times. I shouted out even with Den teams that at the end of the year hadn't even paid their fee and left slip with the bill. Didn't have their, if you don't paying your league fee on time, absolutely you could jump in. You don't pay your league fee on time, but you're going to sit here and talk about how your professional advancement is absolutely crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. So I would say it takes 20K to operate a team. And let's tell you this morning.
What's the word?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm chilling, man.
Chilling, man. All right, man.
Uh,
You know my impression is spot on there, brother.
Come on, bruh.
Bruh. Yeah. How
Yeah.
much do you think it costs to operate a team in the PFA? Ballpark. Ballpark.
I would say starting out, maybe about. I would say maybe about. Depending, I think the hard part with answering the question. I'm just saying this real quick before I give my
Mm-hmm.
answer. The
Copy.
hard part is knowing what everyone's resources are in their area.
Ooh, okay. I like
Uh,
that.
you got some people who have really good connections with colleges and ADs and high schools and maybe the community centers where
Copy.
the gate fee might be 500 a game. They might get it based on a nonprofit standing point, so they might get it for free. I think that's a huge dynamic because I think a lot of people have to realize that your venue matters. That's something that you brought up that I give you credit on is that the venue really matters, especially when it comes to being successful. So that would be That would be the first thing. I think, and I just want to hit on some key points once again before I answer that.
Got it. Yeah.
Um, what is your blueprint like prior? Did you just wake up out your bed and said you want to own a team, or did you actually sit down and devise a plan? Did you say, hey, or was this an impulse decision because you wasn't getting no playing time over here, or you don't like this person so you want to outdo them, or this person over here you was a coach or owner on that team and you didn't like how they did things so you feel like you can do it better? Like, what was your reasoning first of all? Did you sit down and did you come up with an actual business structured plan of execution?
Ooh.
And and did you actually look at yourself, right? Okay, I work a 9 to 5. Let's say I make 100K.
Right.
My bills is this, my bills is that. I might be on child
I'm
support.
I'm sorry. Hold on for 1 second. Sorry. That sounds like a budget to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I heard a dude say that he started, like, actually entered a league and then found out and figured out what his budget was after he already committed. Would you suggest doing that? No or no?
No, because that ultimately that hurts all of us, right? If you come into this situation and you don't even know what your resources are capable of, then if and then I guess also the timing too. Like, when do you let a person know, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this? Is it closer to the season? Is it when the schedules drop? Is it like how much of your pride is going to get to you to the point where it hurts all of us? I think that's the bigger problem too. Is a lot of people are ashamed or too prideful to admit that they dropped the ball or that they wasn't even able to pick up the ball to begin with. So those right there is the hard part. Um,
That makes sense.
but as far as like me personally, if I had to say joining the PFA because I've done it for the last few years, 5 years, what I've seen my franchises spend, even and I'm just gonna throw in that they are resourceful and they do have really good working relationships with their communities and different aspects. I would say so.
Those right
Maybe
there.
about 10. Maybe about 10, like on the low end, like 10. On the low
10. Yeah,
10,
you got country as hell with that. Okay, 10. Okay.
yeah.
There.
10.
On the low end, that's like let's say you let's just say for argument's sake, you go to the Packies, you getting your
Right?
uniforms for $25 a set. You just getting by. You just want to establish yourself, and you
Hmm.
willing to take a few hits. You willing to kind of, I might get 2 tops and 1 pair of pants. That's not gonna run me that much.
Hmm.
I got a decent field. I can't do night games, but the league minimum is 4 p.m. kickoff. Okay, I can have a game at 4 p.m. Granted, this is the catch though.
Uh-huh.
If there's a team that's traveling 3 to 4 hours to you, then you have to bring it
7
down.
o'clock.
You gotta bring it. 4 o'clock isn't feasible.
Okay.
So there are rules to that rule as well. But let's say all right, I'm starting out. I get these little quick unis. I get close with an AD. He say, listen, argument's sake, give me $800 for your home games. $800 that give you everything. And then sometimes I've heard situations where ADs will be like, hey, listen, we'll give you the field for 600, but we get the concessions. And now
Okay.
y'all kind of splitting in a sense. Or they might say, hey, you can get full concessions. You pay us 800 and you good. All you
Hmm.
got to do is maybe tip the groundskeeper, you know what I mean, or something like that. Give him a couple dollars. Look out for him.
But here's the thing. Time out for 1 second. Good morning, Crow. How you doing, sir? Or good afternoon. Sorry,
Good
I
morning.
was not way too early this morning. I was more your speed today with the timing, huh?
Yeah, I'm good with the timing. I'm good
Ah,
now. Be all right. I'm fully up.
nicely done. So
Mm.
if a team immediately starts out buying $5,000, $6,000 worth of uniforms to try to keep pace with what other people are doing, because pocket watching in semi-pro football is absolutely prevalent. So if you say, hey, look, we're going to be responsible, we're going to be economic, and have two sets of jerseys, get your own white pants or your own black pants, and we're good. That is just something that, for most people around here are not going to sell. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, what happens, and would you suggest if I'm an owner who is trying to collect from my players and I have not collected enough for me to be comfortable giving the league fee? What would your suggestion be for me? Would it A, laugh me out the building and say I'm not ready to be an owner of anything? B, I should probably work some more hours at my actual job and take care of bills because $800 to $1,200 should not be a problem for a grown man to handle. Or C, all of the above.
Um, all right, I'm gonna go with all of the above.
Okay, because we've had league owners and
Yeah,
and
work,
and, and
work a 9 to 5 and manage and make it. You feel me? They budgeted as you stated earlier. They made it work. They set some money to the side. They made them pull some money out their 401k. This is what goes back to what I said before, though. What is your reasoning for doing this?
Mm. If I may, I just feel like, I've owned a team for since what's '09. I think I've been a team owner, co-owner, full owner, whatever, since '09. And one of the biggest things as an owner is you can't pay your regular bill. You definitely shouldn't be owning a semi-pro team. You should probably go just be a coach under someone else. So that's the first thing. Yeah, I mean, if you got to ask players every week for $5 for ref fees, you probably shouldn't be owning a team. Now, I'm not into everybody's, financials and you know, but my also look at when players are picking teams to play for. And I've said this many a times. What else does this owner own in their life, right? Do they own a home? Do they have a career? Do they own a business? What else do they own, right? Some of these teams would never get off the ground if people actually did their research on the people who are trying to own these teams. Because as an owner, you have to put into your own product. And if you don't, you can't expect someone else to fund your product. See what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Player dues are important. All these things, that definitely, it all goes into the total makeup of the organization. But at the end of the day, if I show up to a field and I'm coaching the Capital City Seahawks and there's a ref fee to be paid, I gotta pay that. There are some owners that if the players haven't paid their $5 or $10, that game won't be played.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, those folks should not be owning a team. Again,
Ah,
I'm
so
not
you
trying.
hold on for 1 second, Crow. Let me follow up with a question and
What's
I'm
up?
not going to
What's up
take
with
Dexter's credit.
holla at Dexter because I don't
What?
understand how the conversation giving him a headache.
Because team owners, what do they actually own? That's the question he has.
So
Meaning, meaning
so
legality wise.
I would say legality wise, I would say in certain cases physically and spiritually. If you
no
own
shit.
a team, what do you actually own? Now, here's the thing now, Duncan, you have to think outside of the box for a second, right? So if you're doing it correctly and you have a model, a business plan, a vision, if you will, right? And you acquire assets for example, like I acquired assets that I had to sell off, or I donated a lot of stuff to kids teams, including my trailer, a couple of vans, stuff like that. Like I actually own things that basically fueled my operations. However, if I'm a dude that just has a couple dudes at a city park and we're just running it back, and I ain't got nothing else but kind of like the clothes on my back, and I call myself a team owner, that's what's giving that's what's giving Dexter the headache. How do you call yourself an owner? What do you actually own?
Well, for me, it's the brand, right? That's the first thing. So,
If you have a
you own that
brand, yes,
brand.
I would say. Okay.
Grow that brand, right? And like I said, everything that involves that brand, it's not the same thing you were saying. Do you have chains? Do you have, you know, markers? Do you have footballs? Like everything that goes along with that brand. You own its history. You own it's movements. You make those decisions. I mean, again, it's a lot of different ways to think about ownership.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I think you own a responsibility,
Ooh.
right?
Big
To
one.
make sure that that brand is moving in accordance with in accordance to your vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you own that responsibility to bring along 60 to 70 individuals, that leadership, to carry out said vision. So at the end of the day, what you really own is responsibility.
Ooh. I own a 501c3. Wife? Oh, wife? Can you come here, please?
I mean, like I said, of course you want an LLC or 501c3 the team. You want to do all that business stuff. Don't get it twisted.
Hold on for 1 second, really quickly. Hold on for 1 second. Wife, how are you?
Wonderful.
Well, welcome to Way Too Early with Pat. Now,
In the afternoon.
for the wait, it's not early enough. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough. So, my wife is a licensed attorney in the state of New York
In New Jersey.
and New Jersey. She does 501c3s partially for a living. So, this is something that she is a professional at. Now, is it possible? I'm just going to have her answer the questions really quickly because a lot of the semi-pro world hears this 501c3 like it's this magic thing that you just get and then you just hold it up and then all of a sudden people write you check, people throw money at you like you're at the strip club and such. Wife,
Yes. Yes.
question for you.
Yes.
Can anybody fill out and do a 501c3 and have it be valid?
Of course.
Of course. After you do a 501c3, is it just done from there, or is there upkeep involved, or
There's
things?
upkeep involved.
There's upkeep involved. So, what else do you have to file with the state, or what else do you have to do briefly in order to have your 501c3 actually be valid, as opposed to something that's just lurking somewhere in your state capital somewhere?
So the problematic issue is that people think that a 501c3 is an entity that is a, let's say, state-based, and it's not. 501c3 is federal, right? That's
Yep.
where it goes to the IRS.
True.
The IRS is a federal taxing agency. Let's say, for argument's sake, New York State is a separate taxing agency.
You got to speak a little louder. The people
So-
in the back of the church can't hear you. Go ahead.
We can hear, man.
Stupid. So what you have to do is you have to file a 990, depending on how much money you get. It's a 990N,
Oh,
which is a very simple.
hold on, a
Yep.
990. Can you search to see if a 501c3 has updated their 990 or not?
Yes.
Yes.
You can. So you can actually tell whether people are just pump faking and booty shaking or if they actually are doing the right thing. Okay, proceed. Sorry.
Correct. And if it's over the threshold, then there's a 990EZ, which is a like 2-page document. And if, knock on wood, you end up being a very, very successful 501c3 with, multi-millions of dollars, it's a 990 full, which can look just like your 1020, which is, 20, 30 pages.
Mhm.
Along with documentation. The other problem is that you got to go to New York State or whatever state you're licensed in, and you also have to file taxes there as well.
Mm.
So, does that answer your question?
That answers my question.
Back to my corner.
Just one more thing, real quick. So, another thing in the realm of semi-pro football that is spoken about so many times is insurance. And I've had league owners talk about insurance as though they are knowledgeable. And then, by the way, even with league owners, you got to ask, what do they do for a living? And if they are not doing something for a living that would qualify them to be knowledgeable, then you have to ask the follow-up question as, where did you get this information from? So, wife,
Yes.
do you know anybody that owns an insurance company for a living?
Insurance company? I know people who own an insurance brokerage for a living.
Brokerage, thank you for, okay. Do you know anybody who owns an insurance brokerage that would be knowledge or licensed to sell insurance?
As a matter of fact, I do. That'd be me.
You, gotcha, okay. So, wife,
Yes, husband.
when I get insurance, to rent a field like Maritime College,
Mm-hmm.
what does my insurance cover?
Slips and falls, trips and falls, individuals that come to see the event, not individuals that are playing the event.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
When you get the type of insurance that you would get when you're normally renting a field, is general liability insurance. General liability insurance means that it is accidents. It is generally slips and falls, trips and falls, and it's not for the individuals that are participating in that. It is for the
Mhm.
individuals that are
People
coming
that
to see
they're,
it.
they
So if
already
you
paying.
have, for argument's sake, you have speakers out and the speaker has a wire. Well, so let's talk about how convoluted this can get, right? So you have a company that comes in that's doing, you have a DJ. DJ puts out speakers. The speakers have wires. The wires go across the track on the field. You have somebody coming, even though you do your best to keep everybody in the stands, they do not stay in the stands because there are people like me who refuse to sit in stands. So I am walking along the track. I trip and fall over the wire. So in that case, guess whose responsibility that is? Oh, we could play a game now. So is it your responsibility? Is it the field's responsibility? Is it the DJ's responsibility? Did you ensure that the DJ has coverage? So that's one side of it. The other side of it is I'm at the same game. I fall. At the same time I fall, one of your players breaks his arm. He's writhing on the field in pain. He takes an ambulance. He's at the hospital. Where does that bill go? That bill goes directly to that player because that's his responsibility. That
Interesting.
insurance does not cover that type of injury.
Nice. So last thing, and I'll end with this.
I really thought that was the last thing, but okay.
Sorry. So when people are talking about insurance, again, you got to go to somebody who is qualified. If I'm not qualified, I'm not going to speak on it. I will tell you who is qualified to speak on it. And that's just something that we just have to get into a habit of just not speaking directly from our culos. So if you had any questions, now, last thing, football wise, because this is the next thing that comes up. Well, she doesn't deal with football players or anything football. What would
I
you
have
know
more
about?
credibility than most of the guys that are in the field now. What are you talking about?
I know, I don't want you to name drop if you can't name drop. If you can name drop, no problem. Who are some of who do you
Well,
actually
let's see. As a
work
coach,
with?
I'm undefeated, so we can put that aside, right?
Yes, as a coach, you're
Mm.
My
Mhm.
father, my father was the coach of the year, multiple years running. My dad was the head coach of Hayes, Spelman, Mount, Merchant Marine Academy, Columbia University.
wait.
No.
Oh,
You asked for a resume.
sorry,
Now you can leave.
sorry. Okay.
So let's see. Wait, that's the coaching aspect. I am licensed as a coach with the New York Jets, right?
Yes, the New York Jets certified you as a coach.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And then my
That's dope.
clientele on the other side, my clientele today, I have one of the leading wide receiver for the Eagles, two of the linemen for the Texans. I keep going, but is this where
Yeah.
you're?
So she works with NFL players. That's how I
Okay,
get my Super Bowl ticket, by the way. So thank you, wife. Appreciate you.
I'm
Pretty
leaving
cool.
now. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. So basically,
You
when
married up. Good job.
yeah, indeed. So don't think my confidence comes from my credentials. No, my confidence is having enough sense to know what I don't know. And that's the biggest issue that I have with some of the people around us in semi-pro is that they're so comfortable not knowing and being fully confident while not knowing. It's absolutely crazy. If you want to get rates on insurance, Munoz and Munoz is the plug. Please get in contact with me. I will link you, no problem. If you're trying to go to the Super Bowl, yeah, you probably should already have your ticket, but that's what it is. So moving on, if I'm a owner that's spending 20 grand, and based on what you're saying, if you were really hustling and trying to like get things together, could you do it for 15? Could you do it for 12? Possibly, probably. But then you're going to have an owner like me right next to you saying, "Well, why am I spending 20 if you're in it for 12?" This don't make sense, especially if the reason why you're at 12 is because you don't tell me until 2 days before the game where we're playing, what time we're kicking off, and that
Hmm.
you don't have the proper uniforms. Talk to me,
I
Crow.
hate that shit. I hate that shit. Sorry, go ahead. Please keep going.
I
No,
mean,
damn, speak on it.
nah, I
No,
mean,
I mean,
you're not
so I
wrong.
mean, at the end of the day, I tell all the owners that at the end of the day, we're all in business together, right? If anybody's been on any of my
Man,
league
don't take my
meetings,
line. Don't take my line.
no, no, listen,
Don't take
I'm
my line.
only longer than you. I'm only longer than you, so it's
Don't
my
take my
line.
line.
It's my line.
Don't
It's my
take.
line. Listen, it's our line. We'll share it. We'll share
Yeah,
it. We'll share it. We'll
look
share
at
it.
that.
So I tell my owners every year, anybody's been in the league with me, or even when even my team is in the league. The key thing is we're in business together, right? And I need you to show up to that field just as well uniformed as my team, on time, and with quality players, so we can create that business model, which is football, because that's the ultimate product for us. That's going to create interest, right? And that interest is going to drive people in the stands. It's going to drive people getting the pay-per-views, wherever the case may be, whatever how you do that business to get people to pay for that product. So at the end of the day, if everybody is not thinking about this game as a business, that's where you run into problems. You have people who are just doing football, and then you got people who do football business, right? So I'm gonna let you take it from there, Dunk.
Nah, I mean, that's where my success comes from. My success comes from pushing the narrative. I've been successful because not only do I push the narrative, but I try to give the resources and the tools. And when I say by resource, people have to also understand resource is also information. There's also knowledge, there's also wisdom. How you apply it is solely up to you. But as far as like putting people in a position to have to do more, like all right, for one of the things in the PFA, you are mandated to stream your home and away games, both. That's something that benefits all of us in so
and
many
and
ways.
and has a cost involved. So
Yes.
if you consider your decisions on football, hey, look, if right now we're whatever seed it is. If we don't play this week, it won't matter. So if we don't play this week, I'll be able to save $1,300 or $1,500. So we're not going to play this week because I'm saving money. That's not building your brand.
Yeah, that's not good business. That's bad
No.
business.
So, for a prime example, I have my official PFA meeting today at 7 p.m. That's one of the things that we actually do go over. But my franchises are very seasoned. I have a few new ones for sure, which they don't just have to get on that page, but they understand, they know what the dynamics is, and they understand what it is that's required of them.
I'm sorry to cut you. Hold on for 1 second. You said our official meeting is today. So I know the answer to this, but I think some other people did not. The
Mhm.
meeting you had the other day, was that an actual meeting or was that a meet and greet? Did you go over your business plan?
The business plan in general, no.
No. Did you
That
go?
that that that's what I would call it informational.
Beautiful. So it was just an intro, a meet and greet. This is who we are type of thing. But in terms of and I'll say it with your accent, business, right? The business, there was none of that was discussed at that meeting. And if you really thought that it was, and you were sitting in the meeting like, wow, this is an amazing business plan, yet you were not looking at a business plan, you are not savvy in business. And I would absolutely suggest you get somebody on your team, part of your program, whatever, that understands that and could advise you. I'm not telling you that you can't be in the room. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to sit there and kick you out and say, yo, look, dude, you just don't belong or whatever. But again, just like for me, it's Mrs. Patterson. If there's something that I do not know and I am amongst people that are in the know, then I have to, at that particular point, call somebody in and say, hey, I need you to explain this to me. That's what bosses do. And if you're going to be a boss, if you're going to be an owner, part of the owner part of it is really a collection of resources, including people.
Right.
People are your most important resource.
Yeah. Take a racing raider who was a part of the PFA. They have over 400 volunteers,
Mm.
regardless of them being around since 1956, I believe. Uh, but as far as their business model, how they conduct themselves, their leadership, their ability to not just ascertain knowledge but actually apply it is
Mm.
monumental. I think the key to it is a lot of people, number one, they don't seek the knowledge. And the ones that do seek knowledge, information, and wisdom, the second half of that is application. Being able to
Yeah.
apply where it matters most. Because knowing something and never using it doesn't matter.
Indeed. So when you talk about ownership and the value, right? So let's think of teams for a second. If a team was put up for sale, which teams would actually be able to, in all seriousness, be sold?
Mm, that's a great question. That's a great question. In this day and age, I would probably give 10 teams that ability to actually be sold for anything total, and that's me. Yeah, probably be about 10 teams.
Now, I
That
do. Now, here's the thing: 501c3s cannot technically be sold. There are ways, obviously, in terms of value and assets, in terms of
transfers and stuff
around.
like that. Yeah,
Indeed, indeed.
tangible.
So yeah, but I do know that there are some people that are going to chime in like 501c3s can't be sold. So what do you know?
You
Again,
transfer.
This was
so
something that LLCs too. You know what I'm saying?
th-
This is a general statement.
there you go, there you go. So what? So now, like, if the Seminoles were for sale,
I think Tony could sell that. He's
he
it's a
definitely could.
it's a great brand. It's been
Mhm.
around for a long time, and and it has value.
Yep.
Right, but you
Jersey
guys are talking about sell, but what's the return on the investment?
return on the investment. Ah, good question. It
Somebody else
largely
joined the call?
that's Spence. What up, Spence?
Oh, I ain't
What
even
else,
know. I
Vic?
don't see nobody.
Yeah, he was quiet. This is the quietest I've ever seen him.
Okay.
So when you're talking about return on investment, if you're talking about what has been, if the team has lost money every year, I don't think you're going to get any return on the investment.
Right.
But
That's why I
if
said it's like 10 teams
right,
max.
but if your team is operating in the green and has value and somebody wants to own a semi-pro team for whatever reason but doesn't have the motivation and has the capital to get started under somebody else's you know umbrella or continue their path or what have you. But like the Sharks, for example, I would say if the Sharks were for sale, I'd be intrigued. How much? Okay, that would have. I know they have things that have value, 100%. And even to tell you the truth, the following of players, where if you say, "All right, Sharks have practice March 1st, be there." I know that if I were to purchase that opportunity to acquire that on that day, players will show up, and the thing will basically have a certain amount of operations that are already going into gear. I would have to start from phase one, and I've started three different programs from phase one, literally day one, player one, no history whatsoever.
Mm.
It can be done.
Most of the value of the teams comes from the connections and machinations of the owners and the coaches.
And East Penn was sold at one point, I believe. East Penn
Yeah,
was
East Penn was sold, Central Penn was sold. A couple teams in our region have been sold over the years.
yeah. I got offers for the Patriots. I definitely did. They weren't very high offers, but at least I mean it was value. Cool. Okay. Makes sense. So what do you got, Spence?
No, I wanted to hop in because like there's a lot of talk about an East Coast movement, and I'm one of the owners of the biggest East Coast league, and nobody contacted me.
The East Coast movement.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just
I ain't
saying.
got that. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
I know, no, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just interested. I'm just interested. I'm an interested party. It affects me.
How does it affect you?
I mean, my league is right now one of the largest East Coast leagues in the summer.
No,
So it obviously affects me.
you definitely already said that, but that didn't answer the question, which is how does what
Oh,
movement is going?
I, I,
So there's
I
two
don't
questions.
know how it affects me yet. That's why I hopped in.
Gotcha. So I would say that the teams that already have value, the teams that already are out there that are not a part of the EFA are have some options. Let me say it that way. They could go under somebody else's umbrella. They could go under their own umbrella. They can go separate ways. So to say that there is a East Coast movement, well, since the LAL is pretty much not anymore, there has to be a movement of some kinds because teams have to move somewhere. Or actually, even if they move into not operating anymore, that is still movement. So
Right, but
there is your
so
move.
can I ask you to clarify? I mean, like the LAL represented at the end 4 teams. So the East Coast is only 4 teams?
If okay, so how many teams are in New York or the New York region, Middle
The
Atlantic states,
metropolitan area, like you say in the metropolitan area,
metropolitan areas, summer teams? How many are there?
about, about 10 or 11.
Beautiful. So yeah, I would say 10. Okay. So if that number is 10 and four of them are moving, that's a pretty big movement. That's
Oh no,
40%.
that's why. Like I said, it affects me.
So
But
what
no,
are
you
so,
said you didn't know what the movement was, and you said it more like it was a social movement and not just a physical movement. But 40% of the teams have to go somewhere. 40% is a pretty significant number. So the question is, where are they going? Now, here's the thing with the PFA, because that was what was put out there. Is it feasible for those teams to be able to participate in the PFA based on what the PFA does? And I said, well, the six teams, and some of them are not in the Middle Atlantic states, that would qualify for this, that could handle this type of budget, are EPR, Knowles, Pharaohs, Bears, Sharks, CPP. Whether they would want to go there or not, whether they can go there or not, is absolutely irrelevant. So that's kind of where we are. So what I would say is it's very important for the three people on this call, if those teams make a movement with their 40% or whatever you want to call it to the PFA, that the three people on this call, not me, obviously, um, if the three people on this call allow, and not saying allow, set it up, push it, and absolutely endorse it, teams playing within playing from league to league and crossing over and such with value to those games, I think that would improve the experience for the players, the coaches, the owners, and fans like myself, if the three of you guys work within the framework of your teams playing one another and having it count. That's what I would like to see personally. And we all agree.
I
Sounds good.
listen, man. I got personally, if we gonna be quite frank with it, right? I don't know who Spence is. Uh, the way he just jumped on this kind of was a little egregious.
mm,
Egregious. Okay.
good
Um,
word.
Interesting.
Uh,
you know, I'm a friendly guy and I'm an open book. I don't mind a conversation,
mhm.
but I think also the need to, how can I say this? As the New Yorkers say, wipe my feet. In so many ways, it's like, okay, I understand I am an outsider, right? Me and Crow have been working together for quite some time, as a matter of fact.
Accurate.
Me and
Me and
you
you
have
have been me and you have been working
And me and
together
you have
for a
been
little bit
working
of time.
together for the past year. Yes, we've
Absolutely
had
true.
many dialogues. I think the thing is this: so many people are so used to being nosy and being in everyone's business that
Mm.
the minute they don't know something, they have a problem with it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not required to answer to nobody. I
Accurate.
choose the people that I want to talk to that bring value.
Value. I like that word. Okay.
If you're not valuable to me, then there's no purpose in me talking to you. Now, on the flip side of that coin, if I just don't know who you are, chalk it
Mhm.
up to ignorance, which is the lack of knowledge. I don't know. Now,
Indeed.
once I know you and I see the value in you, then we create that rapport. Prime
Indeed.
example.
And it makes it easier to say I should wipe my feet because I see value in wiping my feet because that's
And
establishment that
and
deserves it.
understanding that I've also been in that environment well over a year now, in many
Accurate.
cases, with
Indeed.
over 400 posts. So from Trinity Trifecta, which is my uniform company, to me just showcasing the PFA, the Detroit Ravens, the Motor City Rams, Lima Warriors, all of them. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. So I'm gonna wrap up this conversation in 3 minutes, maybe four, right? For two
Oh boy,
o'clock.
here we go.
And I'm gonna ask this question to Spence. Spence, why doesn't Duncan know who you are?
I don't know. I've only been involved in semi-pro in a big way since like 1993, so I don't know.
Well, he
I mean,
knows who I. He
due
knows who I
diligence
am.
would probably be the proper answer, but I mean, I don't want to seem egregious.
Well, that is pretty egregious because, again, I mean, Duncan, did I introduce myself to you? I think we just
And
in
you listen. Can I say this before you finish?
you absolutely
The
can.
owner of the NEAFL made it his business to
Hmm.
come holler at me.
Gotcha. Now, when I introduced myself to you, did
Mhm.
I have a reason to introduce myself to you? Like, was I trying to put a team in your league, or was I trying to get uniforms or sponsorship, whatever?
No.
Gotcha. No. So just okay. So in terms of wiping your feet at my doorstep, the
Mhm.
fact that I reached out to you without any expectation of you doing anything for me or what I do, that
Right.
would probably get you to wipe your feet a little bit, or maybe even take your shoes off.
A level of respect that's going to be given automatically.
Appreciate that. Got it, got it, got it. So just maybe, we need to start analyze that. Crow, what else you got?
I listen. To Spencer's, he brought up the whole East Coast movement. I
Do you
just
know
gotta.
who Spence? Do you know who Spence is?
Yes, I've had several conversations with him over the last what 2 3 weeks. So
Beautiful.
cool. So we got to know him a little bit. We're been talking about some things. So life is good. I do know who he is, and I knew who he was before this as well. I just never really spoken to him. So
Gotcha.
that to be fair, I know he had the Demon Knights, the EFA, part of some of the stuff that's going on in the Big East. So I knew that before even talking to him, because I
Got
make it my business to kind of know what's going on.
it.
But I will say this. Um, it is impossible to call what's going on. I don't think I want to call it a movement. Because yeah, I get your technical term. It's just teams looking for the right fit for them, right? That's what they're doing. They're looking for the right fit for them,
Just like every year. Yes.
right? They're looking for the right fit for them. My issues are, and I said this to Dunk, and I even said this to Spence. It just and I said this on your show. It's starting to become a little cyclical, right? Every few years, this conversation is being had, right? And even when there's stable situations, somehow it's always every few years those situations become unstable, and you got to start looking at what are the factors on this thing that happens in the New York region keep happening. Is it the owners of the leagues? Is it the team? Is it the players? Something. I think we keep treating the symptom instead of treating the root cause, because we shouldn't be changing leagues like we change underwear, right? Because in order for it to have a great business model and to create rivalries and to bring in capital, bring it full circle, you want to be stable so people can get used to, oh, okay, this is the Seahawks versus Brooklyn matchup. We this is the rivalry every year. This is the matchup, right? Or the Brooklyn. No, let's use a different team. East Penn versus Sharks matchup. Whatever the case may be,
Right.
that's how you kind of drive your fans. So we got to look at what's going on in the Northeast and say, what is the root cause of why we have to go through this every few years? And then once we treat that, then we're going to start creating better football business, and we'll be able to do things like get sponsors, have stable fields, be able to keep a solid schedule, get rid of some of the forfeits, do the tournaments that everybody wants to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my take on it. What is the root cause?
And by the way,
Can I, can I,
New England. Thank you, Junior. New England did the same thing. Everybody went from NEFL to ECFL because they just wanted a better thing for their particular teams. Grass is greener type thing, and then now they're all flowing out of the ECFL back into the NEFL. So, yeah, I don't think it's a uniquely New York problem because New England has gone through it too. Doug,
all
what you
right.
Yeah,
got? Because
listen,
I'm now
I,
two
I
minutes
said
over.
I,
Last,
Northeast.
I wanna,
I didn't
I
say New
wanna,
York. I said northeast.
Northeast. Sorry.
Northeast.
Northeast. Sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let me add to that because I want to go a little bit more in depth, and I know people gonna not like what's about to be said. You know where the problem really lies? Y'all don't want to give it up. Y'all don't want to pass a torch.
Who?
Mm.
No, you gotta give names. Don't do that.
Listen, just
Give
I'm not
names.
saying y'all. I'm not saying y'all. I'm saying y'all as a general term. Let's not.
Who?
Let me say this too. Let's stop getting caught up on terminology. Now understand something real quick. You got people who thrive on this because it's all they got. You got people who still stuck in their old ways and don't want to change nothing and don't want to get with the new era and don't want to let the new era
He
have.
ain't mentioning names. I don't want to hear it.
I'm just hear me out on this.
I don't hear your name yet. Good.
We don't have to like this era, but we do have to work with it and let them have their time. You have people who refuse, bro, to let this go and move on. You can be a mogul and be quiet. Every time you don't got to chime, I see people who ain't got shit to do with this level right now, constantly chiming in, got something to say, pointing fingers. This the problem. In the back of my day, that.
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut up. It's not
You
your day.
don't want to name no names.
It's not your, listen, just hear what I'm saying, though.
I'm hearing what you said. I'm hearing. Not only am I hearing you, like Jimmy, I'm listening to you.
I don't even care about who, I only leave for so. Have you advanced? Have you evolved? Have you listened to your ownership? Right? Not to mention these ownerships that's coming in. Once again, to go back to what I said, what is your reason for doing this? Are you doing this so it could give you feel like you living through purpose? Does this give you something? Was you, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be really rude when I say this. Was you a cornball? Was you lame? And then now this give you a little bit of power? You feel like somebody? You feel like you're doing something? Because a lot of y'all really doing this for the wrong reasons. Because that's the reason why that's not working. Right? Everybody looking for the quick, easy way, right? Oh, this league. I know owners of leagues right now promising other teams right now behind closed door. Oh, yeah, I'll give you an easy schedule. I'll make you a champion. Just come on over. You ain't even got to pay no league fee. You good. Just come on through. Everybody want to be a takeover. When I say the movement, I'm talking about I want y'all to understand when I say the movement. The movement is me saying, let's move in the right damn direction, man. Let's eliminate certain things. But I'm going to be real. Certain things not going to get eliminated until certain people let go. Let go.
And that's on the league level, the team level, or both?
Man, everything. Even players. You got players that want to keep starting. You've been starting for like 30 years, bro. Get off the field. Let the new buck get in there and get some shine. You got coaches still sticking to the listen, watch this. You got coaches, that's head coaches, right? You got athletes coming to the side of the field. Hey, coach, look, we gotta change this, bro. I'm telling you, the middle of the field open, man. Nah, we gonna do it my way. I don't want to hear that shit. He don't want to evolve. He's stuck because he been winning this way his whole life, and he don't know nothing else. He want to know nothing else, and this it right here. Why? The worst thing you can do is give a person a certain level of success with something because he ain't never gonna change that shit. He never gonna evolve. He gonna always live on that old success. Now I did this back in the day. That. But what are you doing now
hold on for 1 second though, right? But the younger generation, I'm not saying that they don't have the money, but they're not willing to tighten their belt to actually do it.
I'm about to rebuttal you.
Right? Because I own my first team at 27.
We ain't talking about you though, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. What we not about to do is compare nothing.
Okay. What we're not about to do is compare nothing.
Who taking these young bucks under their wing and really teaching them and giving them the game and telling them now it's yours now, evolve it? How many gatekeepers you got?
Come on.
I'm not talking about you, Pat.
I got you.
You got a lot of people with a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and information. They refuse to share it because they feel like if they give it up, they got nothing.
Yeah.
You got people right now that literally got the means but don't have the guidance. You don't want to guide them. You don't want.
They don't realize they have the means. If you just
don't want
budget
student to surpass the teacher, man.
Makes sense.
I'm watching it. I'm seeing it. I'm in it. I've been in it. Everybody got accolades. I'm not talking about accolades. I'm not talking about your length of time here. I'm asking what you're doing with the time right now.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's my generation's issue because they didn't put guys like, for example, Sean Kellman on, who absolutely surpassed me when it comes to his semi-pro accomplishments, and yeah, you're supposed to put the next man on 100%.
Bro, we
So
got all the problems, and nobody really want to be the solution. And now I come in, I said, well, let me try and help with the problems by being some of the solution, because I know what some of the issues are. And it's like, nah, I don't want the antidote. I like being sick. I'm cool with that. That give me a reason to have people feel good or feel bad about me.
on every level, especially when you tell, like, for example, a league owner, yo, don't let teams come into your league without paying their fee, because although it might be easier for you, the infection that is spread because of that lifestyle is reckless. Sean, I'm signing off. What do you got? Last words, dude.
I just want to rebut what he said about passing the torch and everything. Again, I'm not against that. I'm probably one of the most forward thinking people in semi pro. But I mean, there is something to say about the wisdom of experience and people who have done some of the things that maybe that are being proposed or whatever. That like maybe some of these things were done in the past, or maybe they weren't, or something similar was done in the past. Like, I mean, there is something to be said about wisdom and experience, or people that have done this before. I mean, I do get what you're saying though about this is the some people's lives, and they don't want to give it up because it's their whole life.
Yeah, or it's the most significant thing. All right, fellas, I will holler at you later. Signing off. Holla.
Gone.
All right. So good conversation today. Now, the last thing I'm gonna let me see, make sure everything is boom, boom, boom. Just me. All right. All right. So last thing I will say, back and forth, who's replacing the Cincinnati Hawks? That's a good question. One of the main problems is that teams and leagues winning matters more than building. Yes, I would agree with that 100%, Mr. Osborne. So yes, I think getting into what was said, there needs to be a passing of the torch, which is why, by the way, last year with the New York versus New Jersey All-Star game, I absolutely said that our young guys should take the reins on that. They should execute it from start to finish and show that they can do such a basic thing as putting on a football game, even if it wasn't at the best facility or the best uniforms, even if dudes wore their home uniform and it was Skittles or whatever you got to do. Let's get y'all on the board with the younger folks taking an event from start to finish, and the old heads just kind of, hey, look, this is the checklist of what worked for me. Here, take it, leave it, whatever. It's up to you. But we haven't seen a product that has really been brought together by the young fellas from start to finish yet. I'm trying to think of the youngest. And it's funny because the teams that I get the most excited about have younger ownership. Dolphins brought their thing together from start to finish, young folks. Staten Island Hurricanes, same type of thing. If I left you out, I'm very apologetic. Everybody else is kind of like the older generation or the old heads or what have you. Young fellas, like what owner do you know or what product do you know is controlled from start to finish with anybody or a group of guys that are under the age of 30? Let me know. Anybody. I owned my first team at 27. There's a bunch of guys that we've seen, come and go that were owning football teams in their 20s. That's kind of a thing of the past and kind of goes to it. So, young fellas, step up. Old heads, help them. That's the word for this week. For another episode of Way Too Early with Coach Pat, signing off.